Welcome, and we're on turn 63. So dire important. Beat strongest soldier, Andromania here, right? What did they cast? I can't remember what the globals are called, but we'll take a look. We'll take a look. We cast a few mine hunts just at that province that was taken over by trolls a long time ago next to Femini. Just because I didn't have a good target for them, and we killed the two commanders there, and I sent a scout in, so we just took it. So that's nice. Why not? We cast Breath of the Desert again here just to protect ourselves in case of Murdering Winter, right? And then look, check this out, an incident in Sulfuria where we marched off with our bigger army, right? We're all spread out here because got some miasma, so we're getting poisoned. We're in the swamps, right? So I think it's more effective in that location. But we don't actually lose much. So one Sage Priest, a Baculite, 3 crossbows, 5 defenders. Not very effective. You'd think would do better, right? And then our scout here was attacked by an assassin, and this is where we left. This was also this was Jomon where we left them behind. So they just assassinated to clear the fort, so they took it without a fight. Yeah, he doesn't last there. And then just kind of just this one battle to take a look at, but this is where we marched that army from Sulfuria. So they just got poisoned, right? And then Jomon met us with some Niflflame throwing Ryushins here. Pretty cool spell. And yeah, our line of troops there just got devastated. But we're casting Gift of Flight on our Baculites, so they land on the Ryushins, right? That's how they were scripted, and Gifts from Heaven falling in the back there. And so we actually make very, very short work of the Ryushins. They don't last very long. But one does get away. And we interrupt and prevent at least one Niflflame, I believe, with a crossbow attack. And we actually enslave one of their shark warriors who ends up killing them, that first Ryujin, and then our Baculites get the second one and, put it to sleep, of course, instantly. But the third one's smart, gets away. But another smaller gambit there, which we ended up taking care of, no problem. So in the end, we killed both Shujinjas, 2 of the Ryujins, and most of the troops, and we end up with Shark Warriors, some Samurai Archers, right? A couple Haremotos that we enslave. And we found a water bracelet. The Dragon Pearls just end up on rando commanders. But yeah, Jomon, so far, each of their attempts against our different compositions has not worked out for them. And yeah, other than that, there's just some minor raiding. Ulm does storm one of those forts. So this is Phrygia, so not the capital, right? With their Pretender and this Worm Mage, which we've seen this setup before, right? And I don't think she has any different gear. But there are a bunch of Great Eagles! Here they come. Does not get off Wrathful Skies if she was going for it. Oh, there it goes. She finally gets it off. And she's pretty protected, even though she's passed out, right? The Great Eagles they just don't hit hard enough to do any meaningful damage there. With regen active. Looks like she stuns herself or gets stunned somehow. Paralyzed for another 20 rounds. But Wrathful Skies doesn't stop when you're paralyzed, right? And some decent mages back here, right? We've got some Mound Fiends. We have an Adept of the Silver Order, right? But they're not on advancing cast, and more skeletons are not going to do any better than the Great Eagles, right? And despite being paralyzed for one more round, she's just fine, and she can wait until Wrathful Skies does its job. So one more thrown to Arcocephali here, right? As they take this one. So we don't have to keep watching that. Uh, they lose the War Mage, which is immortal, right? It'll come back, and the two Mystics, but they kill everything, right? So there's, yeah, a bunch of Great Eagles there. Five of those add up to the Silver Order. Three Mound Fiends. So yeah, pretty big losses. Just peeking here, we did some raids, and I actually can't believe, or I was shocked at how did we lose this, right? There's just one Shujinja back there, and it goes on for like at least 50 rounds, and that's when I got tired of watching. But this one Shujinja just animates trees, and our mages are not on an advancing cast here. And I figured we had the one Astral 2 and that he would Mind Burn eventually, whoever, but they like to cast other spells, and so I think the turn timer runs out and we run away. But we retreat successfully, so it's not actually a loss for us. But advancing cast, I guess, is the lesson there. And then here, another a golem takes over in the Two Woods against Ulm there. We raid with our hash mail with some astral backup, so they can't mind hunt as easily, right? This is where we sent our scout in, and there were just trolls left, so we take that back. Jomon, after the assassination, just secures their capital again. We were raided by some scorpion beasts last turn. I might not have even showed, but I took that back as well with a little raiding party there. Another Jomon raiding party, just pretty much the same setup, but we didn't have a Shujinja to deal with, right? And then, what battle was this? Oh, right. They come in with three ninjas, all equipped with Amulet to the Dead to raid us, and it works. And so I'm mind hunting these ninjas this turn, even though, yeah, we probably don't need to. Events. That was us casting Scorching Desert, right? And more plague is happening all over our lands. Luckily, it's at a point in the game where it's not very impactful, right? Any of these bad events, we're not really worried unless they send demons against us, right, or something similar. And yeah, so we have breached Snowford here. Not surprisingly, they did not come to meet us. They didn't come to relieve Wraith either, or even move off. So I don't know if they didn't stall or anything, but I don't know if they're planning something or just kind of giving up. But check this out. Okay, so next to the throne that Andromeda has mostly surrounded, we've seen mainly golems, so probably more than one golem. It could be three, right? 1 to 3 golems here. And then a pretty big force on the fairy forest here with some senatorial guards, fire snakes, magi, ichthyds, 8 huge manticores as well. So I don't know if they're planning on attacking again this turn, but we're gonna do it. I think it's time. I've got us all set up. So I actually have 3 golems coming in with our Prester Queen, and she's as geared up as she's ever been before, right? She has the Singing Sword, which has Autospell and Transmit, which Magic Nick resistance negates, right? Area Effect 5, which, is just an auto spell there. So anything that's not mindless is hopefully going to be stunned, right? That attacks her, and it's a decent weapon stats-wise. And then we gave her the Shield of the Dawn, which is very appropriate, right? Gives her magic resistance, affliction resistance, more fire resistance, and it ups her awe even more, right? And the stats on it are just fantastic. 35 protection, and only 2 encumbrance there with the 7 defense difference. We've got the Iron Face on, because our shock resist is still 20, right? We'll be fine. And then we also have the Armor of the Dawn, so plus 10 hit points, which is great for an armor, right? Another magic resist, 2 affliction resist, just a ton of fire resist, and even more awe. So we're actually up to awe 7, which I don't think I've personally gotten that high before. And then we've seen the Wormskin Boots before, right? But just a reminder, another 10 hit points, magic resist plus 2, regen plus 20%, poison resist, which could be relevant. We'll see. And then Amulet of Resilience and the Crypt's Bracers here. So Reinvigoration 8, plus the extra protection and defense. We're up to 31 defense. We've got 30 protection on the body, or yeah, a little less on the body, a little more on the head. We're in a very high Dominion at the moment, but our base magic resist is still going to be 23, which is very good. And Yeah, our hit points almost 100 there, but again, that Dominion bonus is very strong. So we'll have it this turn, but not the next. And yeah, shock resist 20, fire resist totally immune, poison resist probably good enough. We don't have any frost resist, but I don't think those Icathids are gonna do enough frost damage to us when we have 20% regen, right? And we have 3 affliction resistance to hopefully counteract the curse effect. But I've scripted Phoenix Pyre 3 times just in case they interrupt her, right? 'Cause that's the most important spell she could possibly cast. And with Reinvigoration 8, I think she'll be fine to die a couple times if she does. I mean, she's gonna be pretty hard to take out, right? And then Fire Shield as well. And then with our golems, I changed it up a little bit to give them all the smashers just in case Arco comes in this turn as well. Like, they won't be expecting this, and our golems should take on their golems no matter what their gear is with the smashers. I would think and hope, because we still have Boots of Quickness, right? We're just going to raise our stats to somewhat respectable on attack and defense, and just give us 2 attacks per turn, right? And then we have plenty of shock resist here, that little bit of regen, and plenty of fire and poison resist if that becomes relevant as well. And so they're all geared up the same. And then if somehow we take the province, but Victoria retreats or does die, David Watts is here to claim for us. And I'm bringing in a scout with just a Ring of Frost and an Amulet of Anti-Magic to replace items if we should so need the following turn. And then for the other throne, we're going with our original plan here, and we're not even magic phasing these 2 golems. But we have a slightly different setup here. So we have Frost Brands and Charcoal Shields, right? So we can have AoE damage to take care of the Springhawks, but still 25 shock resist, so we should be immune, right? Because we do not have a Chains of Reconstruction, because we're doing the missing tune on this golem to put everything to sleep, right? Still Boots of Quickness, and the other one has the Horror Harmonica to make everything go away, right? And I would think this is enough, because those 2 Pretender chassis, they don't have any weapons, and they'll probably cast fairly ineffectual spells, I would think. I mean, they could target our golems with something scarier, right? But we're gonna hope we just rout the army before then, right? So that's the idea with our 2 throne battles here. And with Snowford, I'm just gonna storm with everything. Like, I think just his Pretender chassis in there, and then maybe whatever he's been summoning. And they could march this turn, but I'm also bringing our force from the Trackless Waste, and so we're just gonna have a ridiculous force here. Tons of mages, big communion, and even more Windmasters, right? Oh, you need to be scripted here. Get to flight and then advance and cast. So we've got 8 Windmasters set up that way and we're just gonna have so many flying troops to get behind the walls, right? If we just look at what's here currently that is gonna storm, we have, still all these Bird Knights, the Great Eagles that are gonna attack right away, and then our Bird Knight commanders with their bodyguards that will attack later over the walls, right? Our Golem up the front, along with our giants, our swordsmen, and yeah, just tons and tons of troops. And if they do march on us, this is what it looks like. Even more Baculites front and back. A lot more mages going to communion. 2 more Prester Kings as masters. They're also helping us out with our supply limit here, and they'll march forward and continue to cast spells. And I mean, this could end up in total disaster depending on what they have scripted, right? But I wouldn't think so. We just have so many troops. We're not going to HP route, and even if our flying troops can't do the job, I'm sure the column or our mages can. And I mean, that's pretty much it. So we're hoping to seal victory next turn. So I made another Mask of Face Borrowing, and we're just gonna sneak our Pope in here, so they will also be ready to claim on the next turn. And with 1 Pope storming, but 2 coming in after, we should also have a Holy Level 3 to claim in Snowford, and that would do it. So we've got the Throne of the Sun, the Throne of Air, the Throne of Fortune. That gives us 7 points, right? And if we get all 8 more, that's the 15 to win. And if we look here, this is, can we tell which throne that was? the Silver Throne, of course, that makes sense. So Arco is going to be up to 3, 6, 8, 10. I assume they're going to claim this turn, right? So they're still going to look like their public enemy number one until everybody's scouts see us magic phase into here. So I'm pretty excited. We should be able to pull it off. We're still moving troops around and crafting things and summoning things. Actually did get enough to cast the King of Element to fire here. And so, if we fail for some reason, we're gonna keep trying. We'll get more super combatants. We can take more territory from Jomon, right? We can put on more pressure instead of kind of this false pressure here, and go from there. So yeah, I hope you join me and imagine that. Welcome in turn 64. Is this the turn that we pull it off? I gotta build up some suspense here. Okay, so we got Dome of Seven Seals, and it just seems like a pretty good. I've never cast it, but it seems like a pretty solid dome spell of out of all of them. We can cast it with some boosters on, in case the game goes long, right? And check this out. The Silver Throne has been claimed by Enigmatis, so Arco's Folly there, they got yet another throne. Good for them. It's gonna be the last one they get, right? Hopefully. And we cast some mind hunts here on those ninjas, and we succeeded on all of them. So we killed all three. They're never gonna assassinate again, right? And then to add insult to injury, Jomon tried to mind hunt one of our commanders, and we had an Astral Mage there, and we probably rendered them insane for life. So we also cast some various magic phase battles, right? And yeah, let's. What should we watch first? Let's do the. I don't want to make you guys wait too long, right? We want to watch these key battles, right? We had our 2 battles for the throne, and then the 3rd throne, where Atlantis had taken it from Firmini, right? Without asking nicely first, and we've got a pretty impressive force here. Quite the air force, quite the mix of troops here. We've got a whole bunch of different beasts and magical creatures and other races helping out the Little Hornmen because they believe in Victoria as well, right? So we have the Great Eagles along with our Bird Knights here, right? The Warp Birds. We have Windmasters giving Gift of Flight to our Baculites and Defenders. We've got the Pale Ones who've helped us siege many a wall at this point. This guy's horror marked and he's been crippled, still hanging tough. Never healing wound there. Even from in the forest, the Vine Ogres have walked to help us, right? And most recently, uh, even some Amazons and their Pegasus, Pegasi, right? So they believe in the power of Victoria, and even other and successor nations, right? The giants of the Lost Tribe here have come to join us as well. And why not? We hired some mercenaries who are going to take some blows for us. So what did Atlantis have? Well, just a small handful of troops, right? Even some traitorous Hopeberg here. And yeah, we knew their pretender here, Snowbones, was going to be present. He just has earth boots and a bunch of earth gems, so no other gear, no other gems. And they do have their hero here, the Once and Future Queen, right? Holy 4, Fear 5, but otherwise not too scary. And yeah, so start casting spells. Our troops are moving forward. We said just a handful of Great Eagles back. I think some more were supposed to go, but I must have messed up the script there. But they're hopefully, being a distraction back here. And then we get time stop up pretty quickly. And it all crawls down to a halt, right? We're already through the gate there, just a slight bit with our giants. I do love watching the arrows come in slow motion, even though we're on 2 speed, right? Due to time stop. And yeah, there go the rest of our Bird Knights, flying Baculites and Defenders. Too cool. And takes them a second here to actually come back down, huh? There they come. Right on top of Snowbones. He gets hit as they're coming down. Time stop goes off there. It's just round 3, technically, right? And Snowbones, he's already down to 28 points here. What does he cast? Well, just summon Earth Power before getting interrupted. And we're getting up all our big buffs now. And yeah, let's see what do our troops look like now with all these buffs on, right? If we look at Baculite here. We've got fire resistance 10 because we have fire resist in our bless now, right? Once we claim Throne of the Sun. We did Gaia's blessing, so we have the universal resist, right? Cold resist, poison resist. The only thing we're not seeing is the shock resist because we also have Iron Skin up, which now 22 protection on the body for our Baculites. And it's respectable strength, +4 there. They can actually hit pretty hard. They have air shield, of course, twist fate as well, and yeah, it's 19 morale, right? With all the various bonuses that we have, and even our burden knights now are. Oh, they still struggle to kill things even with +4 strength, right? But they're much more tanky and against lightly armored troops. And that's it. Snowbones is gone in 5 rounds, and we haven't even brought in our second wave of Air Force yet. And the battle's over. They don't even get off the ground. So yeah, first throne captured. Unfortunately, Atlantis doesn't come to meet us. So we don't get to see a bigger battle there, but we still get to see our formation and all our fun buffs and stuff. And Jomon does clap back in a little way, and we can look at some of those battles, but I think we want to see the throne battles first, right? And yeah, let's do Scrap Point first. So this is where we sent just our 2 golems, one with Horror Harmonica, one with Missing Tune, right? So those spells go off right away. Things start going to sleep instantly. All the Spring Hawks, we're not afraid of it at all, right? They're just going to kill themselves on our Fire Shield. We have 2 Frostbrand attack coming out with each golem with Boots of Quickness and 25 shock resist, and we're just totally immune. And looks like we got Astral Shield off and Body Ethereal as well. There's the rest of the troops come streaming in. So yeah, we're making up the formation, setting things to sleep, and these Pretender chassis don't have any weapons, so they're just casting some, kind of minor buffs and air elementals, right? There's a lesser earth, lesser air. Not gonna be that effective. We see some insects here, right? And it's just a matter of time. We're paralyzing things as they come in, right? Doing our AoE damage and yeah, getting things to rout early. So there they go. Peek back here, and yeah, we even put the Pretender chassis to sleep for a second there, if you caught it. Just a little extra fun there. But they're just hanging in back. They're not going to be able to cast any spells without getting into closer range here. And our one column does take quite a bit of damage. We don't have the Chains of Reconstruction up, right? And this is the one with the Horror Harmonica. So he's been hurt here. The other one is taking a little damage. Looks like picks up a 3rd wound there, because we were already limped and I think had one other wound already, but not gonna be enough. So just a little scare there, getting down to 30% hit points or so. But they pull it off, and yeah, second throne in the books, and why not? Our golems are just gonna bonk sleeping units on the head. And one Pretender, he's still back here. He got tired. What? Cast a Earth Elemental. I'm not sure why they would cast the lesser ones. I guess just for fatigue purposes when they can cast the bigger one, but probably won't make it back to him, right? Although we have quickness on the golem. Getting closer. Nope, he runs. He flies away. So, good result. No losses, of course. Kill most everything, right? Well, not really, actually. There's a lot of troops that just run away, but okay, last throne. Victoria and her 3 golem entourage, fit for a queen, right? And she's so glorious, and so we blinged her out, right? We might as well look here again at our final setup. So we have the Singing Sword. It's not super impressive stats wise. I mean, it's not bad, but Victoria herself isn't super strong, so it's only going to hit for 24. But with auto and transmit, air effect 5, every round to stun things, pretty solid. And then very fitting, we have the Shield of the Dawn for her, which increases her awe even more. Magic resist, affliction resist, and just great stats. I mean, 35 protection with with only 2 encumbrance and the 7 overall bonus there. Very good. And then the matching set here with Armor of the Dawn, plus 10 hit points, more of the same, even greater affliction resist, right? And pretty solid stats there for a combat caster. And then Iron Skin to just skyrocket her protection, and she still has plenty of shock resist, right? The Wormskin boots, even more hit points, and magic resist, 20% regen with the poison resist there. And then between these two items, we have 8 reinvigoration, plus why not some more protection and defense. So she's up to 31 defense, maximum XP, right? All said and done with Awe 7, very hard to hit, and then 29 protection on the body with the 20% regen, 23 magic resist. Like, her only weakness is cold damage, but with as many hit points as she has from our previous Dominion bonus, right? Like, she's gonna heal up very quickly with regen. But there are no cold mages here. We don't actually have to worry about it. And yeah, hopefully the 3 affliction resists would counteract the curse, right? And our golems still have 25 shock resist. They do have the chance of reconstruction, but we did give them the smashers in case Andromania came in with their golems, right? And it would have just been, I think, a sure way to make sure we would win that fight. But they did not come in. They were planning it or getting ready, and but we didn't want to wait, right? And so less Springhawks here, and we'll kill them more slowly with less Fire Shield and no AoE attacks. But we're not worried about them damaging us. And yeah, here comes the Doomglaive Wielder. So she did get wounded in the previous battle, right? And she's already fatigued by casting Wind Guide kind of uselessly, right? But she does have the Hydraskin armor, right? Only 13 defense. And yeah, the Doomglaive, it hits very hard, right? I mean, 39 damage, but it is slashing or piercing, which our golems are resistant to, and she would really struggle to hit Virtue here, who, you know, still sitting at 30 defense, right? uh, so she gets hit pretty hard straight away, 34 damage, and there she goes. She doesn't even last around. She gets just annihilated very quickly. Golem hit her for 34 points with the smasher, right? And then she hits back for only 7 points of damage, hits again for 0 points of damage, and then one more big hit from the golem, and she's toast. So the only thing that was maybe any threat goes down and around. And again, we're gonna kill and route things slower, but that's it. A bunch of archers back here. We're not worried at all. And some shockwaves for good measure, right? Virtue telling them what's what. And yeah, so it looks like we pull it off. We get the Throw and Rush, and Victoria gets to have her victory lap, right? So praise be to Little Men, Horned Men of Piconye. They've earned it, I think. Victoria's earned it. She died and came back, right? And no worse for the wear. She did take some wounds, but yeah, it's still not official. Still summoning. There's Water Elemental. You think you'd want to? I think you'd see the writing on the wall here, and there they go. They're routed now, and he's big, but then yeah, he does get away. So praise be Victoria. And yeah, we kill the Ananuka the Morningstar, take her out, kill most of the units here, less overall, right, that were left. And yeah, so I'm not even sure really how to talk about the victory. It's not official yet, right? We still have to claim. And so we are casting the Wizard's Tower on Valkes here, claiming the throne with Victoria herself. And I don't think there's anything that can stop us from getting the fort up, right? If they magic face battle, maybe. There might not be a lap here to magic phase, right? But we do have the smashers, 3 golems, Victoria, like, it seems pretty safe, even if that happens. And then in Scrap Point, Atlantis is next door. They could come in at us. We could just magic phase on top of the fort to prevent that, but we don't need to. I'm bringing in a bunch of mages that we had moved previously, and from Genemia here, and some Air Force as well. And we're just going to have a giant communion and still have the 2 golems, which I had a scout ready to give them Moonblades in case someone magic phased to here with the golem if they had one available and in range, right? And we also have number of Windmasters, a couple Popes. We're bringing in our Heirloom here, who, for whatever reason, if our sneaking Pope can't claim, right, she could come in and we had extra gear for her, so I decked her out. Why not? She'll cast Howl and a bunch of Creeping Dooms, and then yeah, I think we have over 20 communion slaves, and three big masters here. One nature guy who's going to do Guy's Blessing, relief, and army wide regen. We have the army guy or the Earth guy here to do army bronze, legions of steel, right? Astral to do another time stop, will the fates, so on and so forth, and then some additional just astral communion masters after they cast body ethereal, right? So we'll some bird knights that get buffed up to attack him back, and plenty of mage firepower, and we've got things on advance and cast and whatnot. So it feels pretty safe. The sneaking uh, Pope there to get the claim done. And we could have given them Chains of Reconstruction, but it's probably better to just have those two OP items, right? The artifacts. And then I kind of played out the rest of the turn. So yeah, in Snowford as well, I ran out of steam. Like we have all these mages in this just giant army here, right? I could script them to attack Atlantis more. I did issue some attack orders with our flying units just to kind of connect back up here, even though we don't need to connect to win when we claim, right? But this was Femini's lands that we had conquered previously, and I kind of figured why not. But because Jomon clapped back a little bit, I didn't want them to just keep taking more territory from us, right? On the last turn, it didn't feel right. I did debate for a minute if it was like bad sportsmanship to attack a bunch of places on the turn you claim, but I think in this case, like we've been at war, it's not like we're gonna, send everything we have at Arcus Folly and Andromania and stuff. That would be very rude, I think. But so what did Jomon do, and what are we planning? Like, I wanted to use some of our toys, right? We got the King of Magma here, and so we decked him out as well, and um, some mixed force armies, so a couple Ryuchins, mages, and troops here, and not as many item investment, but still a lot of gems. Still burning a lot of gems here, and this is where we had dumped some PD previously, looking for when we had an army here, right, to bump. Uh, and so yeah, they use a lot of gems, end up casting foul vapors, and of course they take out the PD. They kill some of their own units as well, I think. But we're gonna magic phase in here because we were waiting on Astral 3 Prester Kings the whole game, and we got our first and only two literally the last two turns. And so with two astral boosters, they can cast astral travel and bring their whole army with them, which I just think is really fun. And so I geared two of them up to do that. And in that battle we just watched, since they cast Valve Leapers, they used all their gems, but they could have a scout there to replenish and learn from previous mistakes of not doing that, right? Because we've been magic facing them. And so I wanted to bring in our poison resist troops that we had in the capital, including all our green lions, and maybe show them off. And then we're bringing in a nature Prester King just teleporting so he can give out poison resist to our commanders. But they're pretty decked out. So the one Prester King has a Rune Smasher, Lucky Coin, the two Astro Boosters, of course, Armor of Knights, Earth Boots, Girdle of Might, and so yeah, he still only has the 8 hit points, right? But he's gonna have Lucky and Cast Enslave and stuff, and still doing Time Stop. Why not? And then our nature one here has the Thistle Mace, Armor of Meteoric Iron, kind of just what we had left, right? I'm using our boots for other purposes, but then I also gave him Percival the Pocket Knight, which I've never seen in battle, so I kind of want to see what this guy looks like, right? It was so cheap to make. I think it was 5 gems because it was Yearning. It would only be 10 normally, so it's still pretty cheap. And then the other one, we're sending to Ashington with just all the Baculites we had on hand, right? So just shy of 100. And I had crafted this Olcon Scepter for him, which gives plus 100 leadership, because I didn't think we were going to get a second Astral 3, but we did. And then also has the Lucky Coin, the 2 boosters, the otherwise similar setup, right? And what else did they have? So they sent just a single Ryujin here that was built for melee combat, actually. Looks similar, right? Mirror of Long Lost Battles, Frostbrand. Did they pick that up from us? One of the hash males that they killed? Probably, right? So maybe that's why they're decked out this way. Uh, and so to counteract that, with our one golem left that is magic phase capable, right, in a lab, we're gonna come in and just kind of the same setup with also cloud trapezing Windmasters to have it attack flyers, right, as quickly as possible. Because their script was 4 or 5 buffs, I think, and so we'll just kill it before it even gets the buff scripts off. And then, yeah, just sending some other troops and flyers and stuff to some other locations. I think, oh yeah, one more magic phase where we had our King of the Lost Tribe, right? He didn't quite get all his afflictions healed, so he's has less hit points than he otherwise would, right? 11 less, it looks like. But just kind of the remaining gear that we had on hand went to him. So Moonblade, the Skullcap, Chainmail of Displacement, and his defense is respectable with displacement at 19, right? Boots of the Messenger for some reinvigoration. The Ring of Regen, even though it's better than nothing. And then why not one more Astral, and so he'll have a pretty powerful Astral Shield if nothing else. And again, attack any Ryujins that happen to be patrolling in the capital. So yeah, it just feels kind of fun to use our toys a little bit, right? And we didn't actually ever get to Evocation 7, so we can't do the battlefield-wide fire spell, but Rao here can still do Phoenix Pyre and then summon a bunch of fire elementals, which he empowers, right? So that'll still be effective and fun, and why not our Flame Spirit who summoned him will come in and cast Heat from Hell and then get out of there. So I think that's pretty much everything. But yeah, pretty exciting. I'm glad you guys stuck with me. I'm sure I'll thank you again in the next episode. So what I want to do when the turn rolls is, if there are any interesting battles to watch, we'll watch them, and then I'll go and we'll compare score graphs and talk about how each of the nations did from our perspective, and maybe even choices we would have made if we were playing them. And just give out some kudos, like particularly to Acrocephali from what we saw. I think they played very well. Angermania as well until they lost their Pretender, right? They were up against the ropes a little bit for a second, being attacked by two nations, but they still had their globals up, their Pretender and Acrocephali attacking Ulm, right? So I think they would have won, like, easily, and it would have been us, Arcus and Andromania as kind of the three remaining superpowers, because we saw Jomon didn't put up much fight even before we got involved. They maybe weren't that effective against Andromania, and then Arcus just really, really took it home by themselves for the most part is what it looked like. But we may have missed some of Andromania's contributions because we've repositioned our scouts, right, a little bit. But it seemed like their borders kind of hung steady, but we'll get into all that in the next one. And as far as other battles, there wasn't much to see. What happened? So in they try their own little mini super combatant strategy here with the Wraith Lord. Has the shock shield, firebrand, right, meteoric iron, and cast soul vortex, which is nice. And there wasn't a lot sieging the capital, but still, we're mage. A golem here who's pretty decked out and has a flambeau. It's pretty fun. And even a couple of moose knights that I guess they enslaved at some point. And so Howl comes up to harass, which is probably just soul vortex fuel, right? But he has him on continuing to cast, so Horde of Skeletons, right? But the Golem's not going to care about that, and just deletes the squares with the flambeau, and it's just going to hit so hard, yeah. And with the Burning Pearl, actually is very good attack for a Golem, right? So unsuccessful there, and just tiny little fights here and other places, and is that it? Oh yeah, our Mercenaries got killed by a Jomon army here, but they did pretty well. I think they took 4 provinces by themselves and raised a temple. And no Ryujins here, but a couple Shojinjas, Creeping Doom, and then our Drakes unloaded into the backstar. Lone mercenaries there, so not a coordinated assault. But they more than paid for themselves, I think, with how little we got. Had to pay for them. And yeah, so I think that's it. I hope you guys join me for the next episode. I think it'll be really fun to, have a look back and see and really tell the complete story of the game. And yeah, I appreciate you all sticking with me. Thanks, and imagine that.